Welcome to Tucker Rhetoric. I wanted to talk to you today about a sickness that affects all of us. Okay, it affects you and everyone you know. And that sickness is confirmation bias. All right. I believe the confirmation bias is at a all-time high for human history. And I believe that that's driven by two main reasons. Number one is algorithms, and number two is mass media. In reference to algorithms, you have this little bubble or thought bubble that is constantly reaffirming what you believe and think to be true. Okay. And then with the mass media, it's the news outlets that you watch. It's the social media posts that things that you follow, groups that you're in, the books that you read, the movies that you watch, the documentaries, all of these things together. 99% of the time, you're probably looking or listening or watching things that are confirming your beliefs. Okay? You're not out searching for things that go against what you believe. Most of us don't do that. All right? So, as always, let's clearly define what we're talking about. Confirmation bias. The tendency to favor, search for, interpret, and recall information in a way that confirms one's pre-existing beliefs. All right? Favor, that's the algorithms, that's the media that we intake. Search for, we don't look for things that go against what we believe. Most of us don't, if we're honest. All right? Interpret, so if I put on pink glasses, everything's going to start to look a little bit pink. And recall information. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. So what happens is, because we have these tendencies, we undervalue or completely devalue information and or evidence that contradicts what we believe. Okay? We don't want to hear it. We don't want to read it. We don't want to watch it. I've had multiple situations where, there were different things going on, and I was speaking with a friend, and we were on different sides of an issue, and I said, hey, well, watch this guy and see what he's saying about it. And they were like, no, I'm not watching that guy. It's just flat out, it's like, what? And usually with me, most of the time, if my friends say, we're on different issues, watch this guy, I'll watch it. Like, I want to hear what you have to say. So it doesn't mean that I always agree with it, but at least I will try and hear it out. Now, psychologists break this down into three different types. Number one is bias search. Okay, so we tend to, number one, search for information that just goes with what we believe. So if I'm on the right, I'm looking at things on the right. If I'm on the left, I'm looking for people who are from the left. The other thing is how we write our questions. If you like coffee, you go for a search. What are the benefits of coffee? Okay, you didn't say what are the effects of coffee, all right, because that would be neutral. And then you may get some negative side effects, but you maybe aren't open to that. You don't want to know that. I have a cousin, and his son was playing American football, and I watched the movie Concussion. I don't know the name of it. Concussion with Will Smith. And I said, hey, man, you should really check out this movie. I learned a lot about the concussions. I've had, I don't know how many myself. And he said, nah, I don't want to watch that. And I said, well, I think it's important you should watch, because your son playing or whatever that. And he was like, nah, I don't want to see it. All right. He didn't want to learn about it because I guess he felt that it would be a negative information towards his son playing. I don't know. I mean, it's not going to protect and or hurt him. I mean, it could protect him. It's not going to hurt him if you learn it. Anyway, number two, the second type would be biased interpretation. You don't really hear what I'm saying, okay? You hear what you want to hear. And even right now, as long as I'm speaking in this way, I'm just giving definitions and explaining these things, it's neutral, so everybody's okay. But if I give one example where it seems like I lean to a left or a right side, some of you are going to be upset about it. Okay? I might try it later. All right? And then the third one is biased memory or selective recall. So we tend to remember the things that confirm what we believe or support what we believe, and we forget the things that go against it. All right? A lot of us are doing this on a daily basis on a lot of different issues. All right? And then there are two main reasons why this is happening. Okay, number one is because your brain's need for efficiency. 95% of your brain's activity is done without you being aware of it. My heart is beating. I'm breathing. My temperature is being regulated. I can hear what's around me. Okay, I can see. So my blood is flowing. I am not actively doing any of these things. Okay, so my brain is doing all of these things. So because my brain has a lot of work to do, it doesn't have time to challenge ideologies. All right, the brain is like, listen, if that's what you believe, cool. Let's find information to support it. Leave it at that. Because if you challenge it, now you have to get upset. Some people get very emotionally charged. The brain has to release different hormones. It's going to take a lot of mental energy. And in another way of challenging it, if I actually went and researched and read and tried to tear down what I believe, this takes a lot of mental energy. The brain just doesn't want to do it. It's just like, I don't have time for this. All right. And the second one is your emotional stability. Because again, a lot of these things you feel emotional about, your ego and your self-esteem get involved. So when you're correct, you feel good about yourself. You feel validated. You feel intelligent. When you're wrong, you feel the opposite of those things. And most of us don't want to feel that way. All right. So we tend to read things that affirm what we believe, hang out with people who think like us. All right. And just completely discredit the other people. All right. This is this black and white thinking. So I want to give just a few simple ways to try and combat this. Number one is we have to be aware that we are all suffering from this, okay? So when your emotions are high, your biases are as well. Remember that. And just slow down. You know what I'm saying? You feel so strongly about these different things. And for me, in a bigger picture, why is it that you care about these 5 things? When there are 8 billion people on the planet, hundreds of millions of things are happening every day. Why is it that these 4 specific things you care about for 2 weeks and then you change to something else? It's called the news cycle, all right? So the media is very powerful, and I've said it many times before because it controls the way people think. They tell you what to focus on. There was that little submarine that went down and imploded. Why is that important to my life? All right, no disrespect to the people who died in there, but why was the whole world talking about this? Because they told us to talk about it. You understand? And there are many other things that go on like that. Another thing we can do is change our research methods. Okay, so if you really want to go into these issues, because a lot of us are very passionate about these issues, but we're not very well educated. We have not read one book about this issue. All right, we have only listened to people who support what we believe. We have not tried to go onto the other side and understand and talk to people who think differently. We're not doing that. All right, very, very few people are. So try to look for neutral sources. This is possible nowadays. And also try to rephrase the way you ask questions. Yeah, that's something to be aware of. The last thing I would say is changing the way we think. This is not easy to do, but a lot of us have this black and white thinking, and we would benefit from a bit more gray. All right. I'm not saying you have to go gray on every single thing you believe. That's not what I mean. But there are a lot of things where it's like we could find some compromise. And also, guys, let's not get away from logic and reasoning and actually having a real argument, okay? Because if you disagree, you should be able to have a conversation about it, all right? This is wrong and I feel this way. Okay, why do you feel that way? What evidence do you have to support this claim? You understand? Like this is normal interaction of intelligent human beings. We're able to ask questions and discuss and go through these things. All right. So I hope you guys enjoy this. And remember, we are all suffering from confirmation bias. Please be aware of it. Take a step back, calm down. All right. And we'll be all right.